The next topic is types of communication system. Okay, so types of communication system. Types of communication system is in that the first one is one way and two way communication system. One way or two way communication system. So this is the types of the one way and two way communications are further classified as simplex, half duplex and full duplex. Okay, half duplex, simplex, half duplex and full duplex. So simplex means communication in only one direction. Okay, communication in only one direction. That means an example of that is radio broadcasting. You listen to songs on your mobile phone, right, through radio channels. There are several channels. So information is transmitted from the radio channel to you. You cannot transfer back information to the radio channel. Similarly, TV broadcasting. In TV broadcasting, all these signals will come from the broadcaster to you. You cannot transfer information to the broadcaster. So information is traveling only in one direction. That type of communication is called as simplex. Next is half duplex. Communication in both direction, but one at a time. Of course, the example of this communication in both direction but one at a time is walkie-talkie. The police persons will have walkie-talkie. What they do is there will be a device like these. Two devices will be there over which the communication, one antenna will be there and one manual button is there. Okay, so it acts as both transmitter as well as receiver. But when the first device is talking, that means it is acting only as transmitter. The second device over which the communication is carried out has to listen till then. So at this point it is transmitting, the second device is listening, that means it is receiving the data, right? So communication is possible only in one direction at a time. Now once he has done talking, what he will do is he will change the manual button from transmitter to receiver. That means it is going to accept the signal now. Similarly, the second, the listener will now become a talker. So it will change manually. It will change the setting to transmitter. So information will be now transmitting from the second device to the first device. अब ये listener हो गया और ये talker हो गया. Right, so the information will be transmitted in both the direction, one at a time. You must have seen, of course, you must have seen in movies that when if they are talking in a walkie-talkie, at the end of every conversation they say over and out. That means at that point the person who was talking will change manually to receiver, and the person who is listening should change himself from listener to talker. That means now he will transmit the signal and the first person will receive. Okay, so communication in both direction but one at a time. Full duplex means communication in both direction simultaneously. Of course, your mobile communication. Okay, so this is communication in both directions simultaneously. Example is your mobile communication. Okay, the second one is analog and digital communication. Analog and digital communication. If the information is transmitted as continuously varying signal, it is called as analog. And if the information is converted into digital, digital means binary information which has only discrete states 0 and 1. So if they are converted into digital and then transmitted, that type of communication is called as digital communication. So digital communication is much better because of its low noise value as compared to analog communication. So this is the second type of communication, analog. So if analog means continuously varying signal, if it is transmitted directly through the medium, it will be called as analog communication. Or when it is converted in analog signals are converted into digital, that means binary information, and then this binary information transmitted from one point to another, that type of communication is called as digital communication. Okay, so this is the second part. And the third part is called as baseband and baseband or modulated. Baseband or modulated communication. Baseband communication where original signals are directly transferred through medium. And modulated communication where original signal is modified and then transferred over the medium, will be called as modulated communication. I will give you examples of both. Baseband communication, you know, a LAN system. For example, there is an internet cafe and 10 computers are connected, okay, and these 10 computers are connected to one single printer. You go to internet cafe to take printout sometimes, right? So what you do is, irrespective of any computer you are sitting, you can give print command to the printer. That means printer is connected, that means information is communicated from several devices to the printer. In that case, LAN system, original information is transmitted from one point to another. Of course, we will try to understand this LAN, WAN, MAN in further classes, but at present that type of network where the information is original form, information in original form is directly transmitted through the medium from one point to another is called as baseband communication. And the next one is modulated communication. As I told you, original audio signals cannot be transmitted through space. Therefore, all these radio signals, radio channels which we listen to has the frequency as 93.5 megahertz, 91.1 megahertz, 92.5 megahertz. All these frequencies are in megahertz. Megahertz frequencies are not audible frequency. They are just a carrier frequency, because original signal cannot be, that means original audio or voice signal cannot be communicated over a large distance. For example, if you are standing on your terrace and if you shout or if you speak something, what happens? The voice will reach maybe 100 meters, 200 meters to the building in front of you. But what happens to the sound signal which you have produced at around 1 kilometer? Of course, you cannot hear 1 kilometer. After 1 kilometer, you cannot hear nobody can hear your voice. That means original signal, original voice signal, which is in the range of 30 hertz to 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, that frequency cannot be directly transmitted into the medium because it is not going to travel a long distance. For that, what we have to do is the original signal and the high frequency signal which can move, which can travel a long distance, these two frequency has to be mixed. So original audio signal and this 93.5 megahertz. So 93.5 megahertz is the carrier frequency which will carry the original signal to long distance, and that process is called as modulation. And in your phone you have a demodulator which segregates these two at the receiver end, that means the original signal and the carrier frequency. It removes the carrier frequency, takes the original signal, amplifies it and give it to the speaker so that you can listen to audio signal at 93.5 megahertz, which is not a audio frequency. So we have to demodulate the carrier frequency, original signal will be taken and then we can use it. So that is where we are changing the characteristics of the original signal before being transmitted. That type of communication is called as modulated communication. So this is type of communication system. I hope you have understood.